Shemai! Today I'm joined with the lovely Ellie over at Ordinellie. And I think this video's been like a long time coming because we both read this book in February. Both finished it in February.
It's now the end of May.
Yeah. We've just not got around to making it. But today we're going to be talking about Wuthering Heights. I don't know if you can see this. I quite like this edition. It's really pretty, but the font is so tiny. I couldn't read it on here. I had to read it on my Kindle. So we're going to talk about this, and I think we've both got fairly similar opinions on it. Because we were talking to each other whilst we were reading it. We got so confused.
Yeah.
And so annoyed at parts. And I think our opinions are fairly different to the majority.
Yeah.
Because so many people we watch are just like, oh, I love it, it's amazing.
I only read the book because it was so hyped.
Yeah, same. I've tried so many times to pick it up when I was younger, like this edition specifically as well. But because the font's so small, because it's so confusing, I was like, who is this person? Who is this person? And I just got confused. I had to put it down like 5 times. I am glad that I've read it.
I'm glad, just so I know what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would read it in the future, maybe.
Possibly, just to kind of like see if I like it anymore.
Yeah.
So the verdict is that I basically don't like it.
Yeah.
So we did start watching the film yesterday that's on Netflix, but we only got about halfway through and then...
Sent me to sleep.
Yeah. But we noticed that there were like similarities and differences between how it was all done.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd talk about that as well. But predominantly I think we're going to be talking about plot, themes and characters.
Yeah.
And what we think and... yeah. On the back of this one, the blurb reads, Catherine Earnshaw and Heathcliff form a deep bond in childhood, but her brother despises Heathcliff's wild nature. Heathcliff runs away from his tormentor, which is Hindley, and in his absence, Catherine marries another man. On his return, passions are unleashed that refuse to be tamed. And I think passions, like, I never really saw it as a very passionate book as I was reading it, but everything that I've watched since has been like, oh, it's so passionate, and everything that happens is due to passion. And I can kind of see that.
I can see it now, yeah.
But I think as I was reading it, I was so confused and so bored at parts. It was like, I'm not feeling passionate about it, so I don't see how it's a passionate book.
I don't think, like, I felt like I couldn't really identify with the characters, which I think kind of is maybe why I didn't feel like the passion parts in it. Yeah. Like, I couldn't understand why they did certain things in the book. Yeah,
because obviously we don't live in that time period. No. So, as it said on the back of the book, it's like a big focus on passion, but as we said, we didn't really see anything.
No. And then we've since watched videos about the themes, and I can see it now, but at the time of reading, I really did not pick up on a single theme. No. And haven't videos been saying how, like, there's kind of like a repetition with like the younger generations to the older generations. Yeah. But I didn't really get that either.
And it wasn't until like we mapped everything out and we were like, oh, okay, so this happens to this person and like he does this because of this, and it wasn't until we literally mapped it out that I was like, right, I get it. And I think for me, whilst it's really interesting to have like a lot of stuff going on and then developing a bigger interest in it afterwards, I like reading something that I can just understand at the time. Yeah. Rather than being confused and having to take a break and look something up. Yeah. I'd much rather just read it. So it is interesting reading something that I wouldn't normally read.
Yeah. I wonder if, like, for me, part of the reason I didn't really fully understand it because I don't read classics very often. Like, I do just stick to YA and they are, like, easy to understand.
Yeah. I read a lot of, like, contemporary and not classics, but more like modern classics. Yeah. And it is a bit of a culture shock when you read something that's a lot older.
Yeah. And I think for me, I'd read Pride and Prejudice like just like the month before. No, not the month, a couple of months before. And then I really liked that. And then I think because I enjoyed that so much, I thought I was going to like Wuthering Heights as well, because that's another book that's like really talked about. But it just didn't live up to it for me. So with regard to the plot, I just found the plot just one mass of confusion. I didn't even realise there was really like
it wasn't until we started talking you're like, yeah. There was a lot of little things, as I said before, that we had to map out, and we were like, what exactly is happening?
Yeah. And what does it mean to the story.
Yeah, because obviously there's like characters are really important in it.
Yeah, a real like there's no like bad thing that happens that like then causes everything. It's just all a bit of a
and it's quite kind of like intricate. There's no like, as you said, there's no big thing. It's just little things that all add up to the misery that both Heathcliff and Hindley kind of create.
Which I think is kind of also why I didn't like it, because I like where you can follow a story clearly through and you can kind of tell how it's gonna impact the rest of the book.
Yeah.
Whereas you kind of, I didn't get that from this.
No, because there were so many different like baby plot lines. I think, because obviously Heathcliff wanted revenge on Hindley, but then there's also the bit about Heathcliff and Cathy and Cathy and Edgar's love story.
And they're obviously the most important relationships in the book.
Exactly. And I think that the difference between the two relationships like make the love stories different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like when with Edgar and Cathy compared to Cathy and Heathcliff, obviously Cathy and Heathcliff is like passionate, even though Heathcliff isn't nice.
Yeah.
And Cathy's just annoying. And then you've got like in comparison to that, you've got Edgar and Cathy, and Edgar's just like, oh, I love you, and she's like, okay, I'll love you too.
Yeah.
Just so she can marry him and get his money, because it's more like socially acceptable for her to marry him. And to be fair, at least she like thinks about it and is like, well, at least I'll get somewhere with this one.
Yeah. I think she didn't really have any other option, really.
No. It's either marry your neighbour or marry your brother.
And Hindley wouldn't have let her
marry Heathcliff, no.
So.
But yeah, so like I don't know, I think the Lintons, so Edgar Linton and technically not his son but his nephew, Linton, Heathcliff.
Yeah.
They're both like, I think they're both really like wussy and sappy. Like they don't act in the manly way that say Heathcliff and Hindley does.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good thing, because they're
they're not like vengeful people really.
They're like showing a more loving side, I suppose. But they just kind of annoy me.
But I liked Linton as a father. No, not Edgar.
I knew what you meant though. Okay, do it again.
You were like, yeah.
But I knew what you meant.
But I liked Edgar as a father.
Yeah. I think like he was a really good dad to Cathy, but
well, he was a bit controlling though. How he wouldn't let her like go out and do stuff like
go and see Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, but he like genuinely loved her and cared about her, I think.
Yeah, because obviously Cathy had died, so all he had left was baby Cathy, so he kind of had to treasure her. What did you think of young Cathy though? Like,
I liked her to begin with. I thought she was really sweet. And she was like a nice change from her mother.
Yeah.
But then, as the book went on, she just really started to annoy me.
Yeah. And then like especially when, I think that when she was kind of forced to marry Linton, I think that's probably the biggest change that you see.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, well, she's forced to be Mrs. Heathcliff, even if she didn't really want to be. But I think she was still like interested in him, because obviously it was kind of forbidden by her father. And then, what's the timeline? Like, what is it? Hang on a minute. So, we've got a little timeline up on here. Because this is how confused we are.
In months, apparently, Edgar dies. So it's like, she inherits then, technically. Well, not really inherits, but...
Oh, yeah, because he's dying, isn't he? And then Heathcliff's like, oh no, you must marry Linton. I remember that bit. Do you not remember that bit?
Because she runs away and she's like quite mean to her dad. Well, yeah, and she's not there when he dies, I don't think. Because I think Heathcliff keeps her there. I'm pretty sure Heathcliff keeps her there, even though she knows her dad is dying.
So I think because of that, that's when she changes most.
Right, yeah.
Because she was this young, youthful girl, and now she's been forced to marry someone, and like kept as a prisoner, basically.
Yeah.
And then at the end, beginning, when we meet her for like the first time and Lockwood is there, then it's like she's Mrs. Heathcliff and she's just sat in a corner and she's grumpy and But yeah, so I think that's when you see her change most. So I think that's probably why you don't like her towards the end.
Yeah.
Because she's like a bit grumpy.
But then does she change like again and she becomes nice?
Yeah, because of Hareton, I think.
Yeah.
When Linton dies, obviously then she's a bit more free. So she's like, I think she's more able to like do what she wants because she lives in Wuthering Heights.
I think so.
Must do. And then at the end when he's like, oh, look, I've learnt Latin, blah, 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 blah. She's like, oh, well, you've changed, so maybe I can change too. But yeah, in comparison to her mother, I much prefer younger Kathy.
Yeah, definitely. The only character I really liked was Nellie. I think because she doesn't really do anything bad.
No.
She doesn't necessarily do anything good, but
she's a constant.
Yeah.
And you can kind of rely on her. Ish.
Oh yeah, that's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Because like she's not there for everything that happens.
So how do you know whether she's like a reliable narrator? Because it's all like, it's Lockwood's narrative told through Nellie, and at some point she's like saying what Isabella said. And you're like, okay, can we rely on this?
But I didn't realise that she was so young at the beginning when the book starts.
I did. But I think watching the film, because we were both like really, really confused to begin with. Because all the names are so confusing. Like we've literally had to write out this little little family tree of everything just so we can get it into our brains properly. But I think definitely watching the film helped.
Definitely,
that.
yeah.
Because then you didn't realise that Nellie was young.
No. And I hadn't realised until you told me that Earnshaw was a man. Because I thought...
You mean Lockwood?
No, Lockwood, yeah.
Yeah. Just so you thought Lockwood was a woman?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And then it was confusing because Nellie kept saying...
Sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Yeah. The film that we watched, which one was it? It's the one with Timothy Dalton in. It's the one on Netflix. We only got about halfway through and then wanted to sleep. But then, yeah, like that one showed that Nellie was also in love with Hindley, and I didn't pick up on that in the book. In the film, it showed that they had a bit of a relationship kind of thing, so she was expecting him to come back.
Yeah. And
she was excited to see him. And maybe they could rekindle things. But obviously he's gone away and got educated, comes back with a wife. And then so she's left, oh, I'm just a maid. Because that's what she was, like, that social class at the time. It wasn't acceptable. It wasn't acceptable for Kathy and Heathcliff to get married, so that's why she married Edgar. And it wasn't acceptable for Hindley and Nellie to get married. But whether that was a thing in the book, I don't know.
I didn't think about class that much in the book.
No.
Like, I never really thought, oh, Heathcliff and Kathy can't marry because Heathcliff is, like, poor. I think I just thought of it... I don't know why I thought they couldn't get married. I think I just thought they couldn't get married because he wasn't really very nice. Yeah,
I didn't see it as anything to do with social class, not until we watched videos and stuff on it. But it makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't see any reason for them not getting married because they weren't blood siblings.
No.
And it was just the fact that she kind of ran away with Edgar. So from my perspective then, it was also, like, it makes sense now that she married because she wanted to better her life.
Yeah.
But I think, for me, reading it at the time, I was like, oh, well, she just...
prefers
Edgar, yeah. But then I think, like, obviously she can't love Edgar as much as she loved Heathcliff.
Yeah.
I personally don't think she loved Edgar at all.
I don't know, I can't work out whether she did or not. Definitely, if she did, then definitely not as much.
I think she might have loved the idea of the escape.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Wuthering Heights, in my mind, it was a lot more run down than Tea Grange was in the books. Because it was like, even though they're probably of the same standard, I felt like Wuthering Heights was very dark and gloomy.
I thought it was dark, but then I was surprised when we watched the film how different they were.
Yeah, because you saw the Grange and it was like they were wearing pretty dresses.
Yeah, it was all like so bright.
Yeah, whereas Kathy in Wuthering Heights, she could like wear just rags basically. And they could both get really dirty.
That was a bit weird.
And her dad didn't have a problem with that.
No.
Oh, and then also Joseph, that's something that I wanted to comment on. Joseph in the book, I read him, I couldn't even understand.
No, I couldn't.
I was like, what are you saying half the time?
My eyes were looking, but my mind wasn't taking it on board.
I was trying, and I was even trying to read it out in the accent. It just wasn't working. I was reading it with a West Country accent as well, which didn't work, didn't fit Yorkshire, but, you know, never mind.
I also, like, I didn't really see the point in Joseph as a character.
No.
Other than just, like, a character that had sort of seen the other characters grow.
Yeah. because he doesn't really say anything.
No.
He's just like the grumpy one in the
Yeah,
background.
I
I'm
don't
sure
remember
he
him
must have.
doing much.
Yeah,
It's just more characters to confuse us.
Yeah. Pretty much. Although, yeah, I mean, he doesn't confuse you as to who he is. He just
Yeah.
confuses you as to what he
Yeah. In conclusion, so although neither of us really liked the book or felt like we'd got much from it, I feel like, me especially, I've learnt a lot more through watching the film and looking things up, and I feel like maybe I was a bit harsh on it the first time I read it,
Yeah.
and I think I've learnt some more things, and I don't know, I'm kind of like tempted to read it in the future, maybe.
I'm torn because like I really didn't like it as I was reading it, but then having learnt more, like you
hearing
said,
other people's
yeah,
opinions.
it is interesting, and I feel like I have enjoyed it now that
Yeah.
I've researched it. But then I feel like I'm betraying my previous
Yeah.
self who absolutely hated it. I'm glad that I read it.
I'm glad I read it. One, because it's a classic. I'm just glad I read it, really.
I think you kind of have to read it just because there's so much hype around
Yeah.
it.
I feel like it's weird that we both didn't like it. We're kind of like anomalies, really.
Maybe it's because like we're in uni and
It's just depression
Yeah.
on top of like stress.
but there you go. So we've both got these little books. Ellie's just breaking hers.
So,
I bought them both from W.H. Smith whilst I was still working there. Like I literally bought it ages ago. So it was destined that I gave it to
and
you.
it was purple.
And
It was like
purple.
actual fate.
Exactly, purple as Ellie's. So I bought these, and inside, it basically, you've got space to write about the title of the book, author of the book, when and where you read it, when it was published, what language it was in, genre, that kind of thing. And you've got like a bit of space for notes and stuff. So it's laid out like this. I don't know if you can see half of Ellie's face. So it looks like that. And then down the bottom, it's got a little like star rating kind of thing, but there's stars. Instead of being out of 5 like any normal person would do it, it's out of 6. And coincidentally, we both gave it a 3 out of 6.
I feel like we didn't want to be too harsh.
No.
I could have rated it lower,
Yeah.
but
because it's a classic, I guess we could kind of see there was potential there as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, that
and
was...
I think I felt like I was too stupid to understand it and like it the way that
Whilst
people
I was,
liked
yeah,
it.
same. Whilst I was reading it, I was like, I'm sure people must love this, but I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I am glad that we have researched into it.
Yes.
And we understand it a bit more. Took us a while, but we got there eventually. Would you say that you recommend it?
I think everyone should read it, yeah. Everyone who's interested, at least a little bit interested in classics,
Yeah.
should read it.
It's definitely one of those books. I think it's on like BBC's books to read
Oh, really?
list thing out of all like the classics and stuff, because it's so famous.
And it's so different,
Yeah.
I think, to other
Yeah.
books.
And if you've read anything Jane Austen or any of the other Brontes, you kind of have to read it. If you're gonna
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I like this," then it's a necessity, really. So now we've finished talking about that, we can
Go and eat.
forget about it and go and eat. Yeah, my flatmate, who is gonna be Ellie's flatmate as well next year, because we're gonna be living together, so you're gonna be some more of us together.
We should definitely do more collabs. I
Yeah.
think it'll be easier as well when we're like living together.
Yeah, and just be like, "Oh, Ellie, come do a video." But yeah, our flatmate has made us some spaghetti bolognese, so we're gonna go and enjoy that. After we've just exhausted ourselves talking about a really, really fun, lively, happy book. So in order to finish, I've got to do my word of the day, and today's word of the day is confusion. So in Welsh that is anrefn, and in French it is la confusion. So I think, yeah, that word definitely ties into our feelings of this book, and possibly yours too if you read it. So let us know in the comments if you agree with us, if you disagree with us. Probably most likely disagree with us. I'm sure you found it confusing too though, surely.
Hopefully.
So I shall see you when I see you. Oil. P.S. Go and check out Cherry's channel because I talk about it all the time. Go.